Welcome back. It's Saturday, June 21st. I hope everyone had a productive week. And today we're going to be continuing with our database course. If you recall from last week, we started a new course, Module 10, Databases. And we started by registering in Learn SQL at the Codecademy. Now, if this is your first week, we have a couple of new students joining us today. If this is your first week, don't worry about this too much. The whole point of Learn SQL was to just simply get some practice typing in commands and looking at tables, looking at the results. So if this is your first week, that's perfectly fine. If you were with us last week and you've completed Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, you're in really good shape. Chapter 3 wasn't too hard. It was looking at functions like max and average. And of course, Chapter 4, if you didn't get that far, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, the goal was simply entering some SQL commands and looking at the output and getting used to the idea of a table. Okay, so we're going to leave behind the Codecademy, and what we're going to do now is we're going to install an actual database onto our computer, and there are lots of databases out there. So I chose one called DB Browser for SQLite. So let me go ahead and click on that. Okay, and the reason why I chose this one is it's a nice, simple, easy database to work with, and of course it's free. We don't want to be spending a lot of money in learning this stuff. So let me go ahead and click on it. So this is our first step today. We need to install this. And you have a screenshot here of what the database looks like, the database application, and all your tools, all your utilities are right there. So let's come to the top. Let's click on Downloads. And you'll see we have a couple of options here. First thing you should notice is you can install for different operating systems. Almost everybody is using Windows. I think there was one student using the Mac OS or thinking of getting Mac OS. So that would be another one. And later on in the future, when we're doing this stuff in Linux, you'll see there are other downloads and installs available there too. So we're going to download and install it for Windows. Now, the other thing you should notice here is some of them say standard installer and other ones say .zip. So stay away from the .zip unless, of course, you know how to work with zip files. The reason for that is we need to get another application for zipping and unzipping files, and that's just too much trouble right now. So we want the standard installer. It doesn't really matter too much if you get the 32-bit or the 64-bit, but because computers today are all 64-bit, I'm going to grab the 64-bit version for Windows. So again, DB Browser for SQLite, standard installer for 64-bit Windows. So let's go ahead and click on that. And you'll notice if you're using Chrome, you'll notice that it's downloading in the lower left of your corner. If you're using another browser, there might be a link on the bottom of your browser towards the middle, or maybe there's a download button. I think Firefox has an arrow pointing down in the top right-hand point. So just look at your browser and see where you can access that download. So if it's Chrome, you'll find it in the lower left-hand corner. And I recommend that everybody use Chrome in this program. So let's go ahead and launch it. And all you have to do is do one click, and the setup program automatically kicks in. So if you've never installed a program before, here's your chance to install one. This is a simple installation. So you get the welcome window. You can read through that and click Next. When you see this window here, the license agreement, you're just agreeing not to do anything dishonest with the software, like stealing it and doing other things you're not allowed to do with it. So let's accept the license agreement. Next. And in this window here, we're putting links to easily access it on the desktop and in our program menu over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on all those shortcuts so we can easily launch our application. Click Next. Now it's asking us which components do we want to install. Just accept the default. Okay, so don't look at that. Just click on Next and begin the installation. So I want you to go and do that now. It takes a few minutes. Oh, now it's going to ask for permission, so I'm going to click Yes, and away it goes. So this is going to take a few minutes, so I'm going to pause my video, and I'm going to let you go and do the same thing. So pause the video and start the installation. So I have it installed now, and you should have it installed also. If you haven't installed it yet, pause this video and go to the website and get DB Browser for SQL. So I'm just going to click Finish here, and I am going to launch the database. So let's click on Start and type SQL or DB, and you'll see it appear. Now, you don't want the cipher. That's another tool. What we want is the browser. So I'm going to type something else instead. I'm going to type DB browser. There we go. So you don't want the one that says cipher. Okay, that's another database tool. We want DB browser SQLite. So we'll click on that. And there it is. We now have a database, full-blown database application installed on our computer. The other thing that I suggest that you install is Notepad++. So if you remember from previous weeks, I was using this application. You should have this also installed on your computer. That way you can record the code for every assignment, and you can create your help sheet for the final exam. So in the final exam, you're going to be using a help sheet. You're going to be using Notepad++, and all you have to do is just simply go there, find what you're trying to do. So creating a table, inserting a value, and so on. And you're going to just use this to create or do your exam. You're going to, this is a syntax reminder. So for instance, insert into another table on the exam. It's not going to be students. It's going to be something else. So this is just something to help you remember the syntax. So to get this, again, what you have to do is you just type in Notepad++. Don't forget the 2 plus signs. Press Enter and go ahead and click on it. And you'll know you're there because you'll see this little green guy here. And just click on the most recent application. And once that's downloaded and installed, you will be able to open it, and it will look something like this. Now, when you're typing in code, it won't be nicely coded, or it won't be nicely color-coded like I have here. You notice this is blue, this is purple, this is red, this is green. The reason why mine is showing colors and yours is not showing colors is Notepad++ does not know what language this is. So in order to display the colors, this is a little syntax aid here to help you with the syntax. Go to language and tell the application which language you're using. You're using SQL. So once you've done that, you'll notice here that everything is color-coded. Of course, the first time you download and install, you won't have any code in there, but when you type it in there, it will be nicely color-coded like what you see. So that's the first thing we want to do today. Download and install DB Browser for SQLite and Notepad++, so you have a nice collection of all the code that you're going to need for the final exam.